Have you ever wondered what the secret to true happiness is? An inquiry as old as time itself, isn't it? Across ages and cultures, this universal quest for joy and fulfillment has echoed through the human experience. A quest that often leads us to the teachings of one revered figure, Gautam Buddha. A man who, despite being born into a life of luxury and privilege, chose to abandon it all. He embarked on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment, seeking to unravel the mysteries of life and happiness. His teachings, imbued with wisdom and compassion, have guided countless souls on their path to inner peace and fulfillment. So, it seems only fitting that we turn to his life and teachings as we ponder the secret of true happiness. So let's delve into a motivational tale from Gautam Buddha's life that unravels the secret of true happiness. Once upon a time, in the heartland of ancient India, lived a prince named Siddhartha Gautama. Born into the opulence of royalty, he was swaddled in the finest silks, nurtured under golden canopies, and reveled in the grandeur of a life that many could only dream of. His father, the king, shielded him from the harsh realities of the world and ensured that he was surrounded by nothing but joy and luxury. As Siddhartha grew, so did his curiosity and restlessness. He found himself questioning the purpose of his existence and the meaning of his lavish life. Despite having everything at his fingertips, wealth, power, and privilege, Siddhartha felt a consistent undercurrent of dissatisfaction. The gilded walls of his palace seemed to close in on him, and the constant merrymaking felt more and more hollow. One day the prince ventured outside his palace walls and was confronted with the realities of life: suffering, old age, sickness, and death. These were concepts foreign to his sheltered existence, and they shook him to his core. He realized that his life of opulence was merely a facade, a distraction from the true nature of existence. It was a life that, despite all its splendors, was devoid of real substance. This realization led Siddhartha to make a life-altering decision. He chose to renounce his royal lifestyle, his family, and his kingdom. He exchanged his jeweled crown for the simplicity of a monk's robe, his golden throne for the harshness of the forest floor. He decided to seek the true meaning of life, to delve into the depths of his soul, and to find a way to alleviate the suffering he had witnessed. Siddhartha, the prince, became a seeker. He walked away from a life many would covet, to embark on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. His path was not easy, but he was determined to find the answers to his questions, to quench his spiritual thirst. And so, Siddhartha embarked on his journey, becoming the Buddha we know today. Leaving behind his past life, Siddhartha ventured into the unknown, seeking answers to life's biggest questions. His journey to enlightenment was not a leisurely stroll through a beautifully manicured garden, but rather a treacherous climb up a rugged mountain fraught with challenges and hardships. He began with ascetic practices, denying himself the comforts of life, believing that the path to enlightenment lay in the extreme. He lived on a single grain of rice a day, his body withered away, and he was on the brink of death. But his spirit remained unbroken. However, in his weakened state, he realized the folly of his ways. Enlightenment, he understood, was not to be found in self-deprivation, but in a middle path, a balance between indulgence and austerity. This was his first step towards a profound realization. Siddhartha then focused on meditation, seeking to quiet his mind and find the peace within. He sat under the Bodhi tree, determined not to rise until he had found the answers he sought. His resolve was tested repeatedly. He was confronted by the demon Mara, who tempted him with the desires of the mortal world and threatened him with the fears of the unknown. But Siddhartha remained unmoved, his focus unwavering, his spirit unshakable. Days and nights passed. His body remained still, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts, until finally the storm subsided. The veil of ignorance lifted, and in its place there was clarity. He saw the interconnectedness of all life, the impermanence of all things, the truth of suffering, and the path to end it. He had attained nirvana, a state of perfect understanding, peace, and detachment from all worldly desires and suffering. He had become the Buddha, the awakened one. His journey was one of transformation, from an ordinary man seeking answers to becoming the enlightened being who would guide others on their path. And in that moment of enlightenment, Buddha discovered profound truths about life and happiness. Buddha's journey led him to the discovery of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. These teachings, wisdom distilled from his profound spiritual journey, provide a roadmap to true happiness and fulfillment. Let's start with the Four Noble Truths. The first truth is dukkha. often translated as suffering. But dukkha is more than just physical or mental suffering. It's the dissatisfaction or stress we experience when life doesn't go as planned, when we can't hold on to the things we love, or when we can't escape the things we dislike. The second noble truth is samudaya, the origin of dukkha. Buddha taught that the root cause of dukkha is tanha, or craving. It's the desire to have, to hold, to control, to avoid. It's our attachment to the way we want things to be, rather than accepting them as they are. The third noble truth, nirodha, is the cessation of dukkha. Buddha revealed that it's possible to end dukkha by letting go of tanha. This doesn't mean we become passive or indifferent. Rather, it's about embracing the reality of change and impermanence. The fourth noble truth, magga, is the path that leads to the end of dukkha. And that brings us to the Eightfold Path, a practical guide to ethical and mindful living. The Eightfold Path is like a compass guiding us through life's journey. It starts with right understanding, recognizing the reality of dukkha, its origin, cessation, and the path leading to its end. This understanding lights the way for right thought, where we commit to a path of love and non-harm. Then comes right speech, using our words to promote truth, harmony, and kindness. Followed by right action, living in a way that respects others and ourselves. Next is right livelihood, choosing a job that contributes positively to the world and doesn't harm others. Right effort encourages us to foster wholesome qualities and let go of unwholesome ones. Right mindfulness teaches us to be fully present and aware in every moment. And finally, right concentration, which is about developing a focused mind through practices like meditation. It's important to note that the Eightfold Path isn't a linear journey. It's more like a web, where each factor supports and is supported by the others. You don't have to perfect one before moving on to the next. They grow and develop together. Buddha's teachings aren't about believing in doctrines or performing rituals. They're practical guidelines for living a meaningful life, rooted in ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. They invite us to look deeply into the nature of life, to understand our suffering, and to cultivate the path leading to its end. These teachings of Buddha continue to guide millions around the world in their search for happiness. And remember, this journey isn't about reaching a destination, it's about walking the path, moment by moment, with mindfulness and compassion. So what does this tale teach us about motivation and happiness? At the heart of this motivational tale, we find a profound lesson that resonates across time and cultures. Gautam Buddha's journey from a life of luxury to the path of enlightenment offers a timeless perspective on the nature of happiness and motivation. Let's ponder on the key points from Buddha's journey. It all began with a deep sense of dissatisfaction, despite having all the worldly luxuries at his disposal. This sense of discontent led him on a quest for understanding the true nature of life, happiness, and suffering. He realized that true happiness couldn't be found in material possessions or physical comfort. In his journey towards enlightenment, Buddha discovered the importance of self-realization. He learned that understanding oneself, acknowledging one's desires, fears, and limitations, is the first step towards achieving true happiness. Self-realization is not merely about introspection. It's about growth, about learning from our experiences, and about evolving into better versions of ourselves. Buddha's teachings emphasize the significance of inner peace. He found that no amount of external success can bring you happiness if your inner world is in chaos. Inner peace is the balance of mind and spirit, the tranquility that comes from accepting oneself, and the serenity that comes from understanding the transient nature of life. And then, there's the journey towards enlightenment. Buddha's path was not easy. It was filled with challenges, doubts, and hardships. But he persevered, motivated by his quest for truth and understanding. His journey teaches us that the path to happiness is often not easy. It requires dedication, patience, and the courage to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. In the end, the quest for happiness is not about what we acquire, but about the wisdom and peace we find within ourselves. This tale of Buddha is a reminder that the pursuit of happiness is a journey inward. It's about finding motivation in our quest for understanding, peace, and self-realization. And in this journey we find the true essence of happiness.